Hi, welcome to Board Game Express. Now that you know how to play Great Western Trail, let's talk about a couple of strategic ideas that'll help improve your play. First, even though this is technically a deck builder, it's not really. One thing to keep in mind is that in a lot of other deck builders, you have smaller starting decks, 6, 8, maybe 10 cards. So getting rid of bad cards is often extremely useful, and in some games, absolutely necessary. In this game, you're starting out, first of all, with 14 cards. And there also aren't a lot of ways to deck thin. This bottom auxiliary action is the primary way that you're going to do it. And so it's kind of hard to get any momentum going. You knock down 2 cards, you're still at 12 starting cards. It's usually easier just to buy better cows to improve your deck. Another reason it's not that effective is because there are a lot of effects in the game, so your engineers, as you build them up, and these risk actions behind the hazards, they actually want you to discard a 1 cow, so you wouldn't even want to throw away all 5 of your 1s. No. Second, it is really a game about making your actions as efficient as possible. So to that end, it is very important to have a lot of employees. If you are going to buy cows, don't go buying cows with just 1 cowboy. You're not going to be able to do much. If you have 5 cowboys, then you can go to town. So early on in the game, be very aggressive about picking out employees to kind of help build that engine. Another thing is, this is one of those games where it's actually not going to be very practical to do everything. You're probably not going to want to try to get a bunch of cows and build a bunch of buildings and move your train up very far. You're going to probably need to pick and choose. So generally you're going to want to say, choose 2 of those things and develop those. 1 only is a nice focus if you can get away with murder, but it usually is going to require that you're doing 2 things well throughout the game. Third, this one also is another one of those things that players learn after playing a bunch of times. Don't loiter. There are a lot of actions in the game that make it like, ooh, I can buy some cows there. Ooh, I can discard a pair, earn 4, and buy a hazard. There are a lot of things you could be doing. But ultimately, one of the most useful things you're going to be doing is scoring Kansas City. So, of course, you do want to hit the important buildings with regularity. If you are choosing a cowboy strategy and you've built up a good number of them, yes, you do want to buy cows every time you cycle through. But don't go hitting every building on your way to KC. Get there, get it done. You're going to be better off for it. Now, let's talk about hitting KC. Couple of important points. First is I want to stress the importance of the first black disc removal. So usually for most players that means you're hitting Albuquerque at a value 10. Now you can do that by buying 1 or 2 very good cows and waiting for them to cycle into your deck, getting them both in your hand. So for example, if you bought a 4 and a 3, you can all of a sudden have 4, 3, 2, 2. When you score Kansas City, you're already at that 10 level. Or you may want to collect a bunch of certificates. So let's say you build up 3 certificates, and then as soon as you have a hand of just merely 7, which isn't that hard, then bam, there's your 10. The reason you want to do that is because the black-backed upgrades are simply way stronger. So in the case of where your opponents are just stacking the board with their buildings left and right and moving becomes just a slog, you're going to want to boost your movement speed. Or if that is not happening, you can simply increase your hand size. It does cost 5 to unlock these, so keep that in mind. But if you increase your hand size from 4 to 5, all of a sudden it becomes much easier to hit those limits. And ultimately, eventually, you do want to hit San Francisco if you can. A hand of 18 value is very hard to achieve unless you either have some amazing cows like the 5, the 4, and all the 3s, or you are able to get your hand size up to a good amount. And finally, to the end that buying employees and buying them early is of paramount importance, I want to point out that Kansas City, the KC spot, the one that costs you 6 points at the end of the game but gets you $6 immediately, is really not to be feared. I do see some players avoid this. I would actually say do not avoid it, and in fact, unless you have an actual plan, wouldn't be a bad idea to just automatically go there your first time anyway. The $6 is going to be useless. And if you are playing a game in which the employee is in the original spot, then you're going to be able to immediately put that new money to use, usually right after you have yourself put out a couple of new employees onto the list over here, and then you can immediately buy them, add them to your set. So don't fear Kansas City. It kind of looks like it's a negative, but it really isn't. It's very useful. All right, now those are some tips for Great Western Trail. Good luck out there.